What?
Sorry, I was
What?
just messing around. Nobody's listening to me. What did I tell you guys? It was here. King
What?
Thomas.
What?
Told you. Yeah. Anyway, let's get to the formalities. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are, whatever time it is for you right now. Just know that you are locked in on the Raptors Freak and To The Point, collaborating for the 2025 NBA Finals. Just for you guys out there, you guys, for To The Point, you guys know what it is. Find us, Apple, Amazon, Spotify, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. Thanks, Arturus. YouTube, click subscribe, click like, and make sure you go check out my man right there, the Raptors Freak. Would you like to introduce yourself, my friend?
Good evening, To The Point family, Raptors Freak family. What's up?
It's none other than the lyrical Leviathan Lex, Raptors Freak, every morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. You guys know what to do. Find him on the stream. Raptors, Canada, women's, all basketball that you can find there. Lex, it's a long night. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. What another great chapter added to the 2025 NBA Finals tonight. Game 6 was a thriller. It came as advertised. And in some ways, listen, it was a rout, but listen, the intrigue is that the series continues and there will be a Game 7. And
Okay.
that's fantastic.
So let
and
me ask
also,
you.
The home crowd was such a huge factor tonight.
Time. Big time. So let me ask you, the overview from what you witnessed from Game 6 itself, just to encapsulate it, what
Yes.
did you see from there, from the way the teams played against each other?
In the beginning of the game, the Pacers were horrible because they were not giving the ball to Pascal Siakam. And they didn't score for the first 4 minutes of game. And then they finally gave the ball to Siakam. And he scored. And it was like 8 minutes on the clock at that point. I was like, holy crap. It's like, hello, get the ball to Siakam. Even Doris Burke's calling y'all out on this. The Pacers do the best when they get in the game, when they get to Siakam. But in some ways, it didn't matter. And it's just that, the Pacers fed off the home crowd, which came correct. Standing and doing the defense chants really does work. I'm telling you right now. And, but the Thunder started okay. But they did a really good job getting to loose balls, going after everything. The Pacers played like the epitome of what dog mentality is.
The hustle was there.
Yes. And the important ingredient was that guy did show up and play, and he contributed. And he even if he didn't play the whole entire game, he was successful in coming back and doing enough to do this. And the luxury of having a route and sit him for almost basically the whole second half.
Quarter. Yeah.
And honestly, that's going to come in really handy for Saturday. More rest, more time. But he played really well in some ways. Hit some big shots, Tyrese Haliburton. And I thought it was a very entertaining game because OKC is a dangerous juggernaut this whole entire season, and there's not many quarters where they don't score 20 points. So in that case, you got to look at just the defensive ability of the Pacers to stymie them and the energy of the building to slow them down so that they can't get on any cylinders going.
Yeah.
I mean, this is.
I thought
that's the recipe right there.
I thought the overview, what I saw from a coach standpoint with this game was I would be pretty frustrated if I was Dagno, whatever his name is, right?
I feel like he's fumbling.
I felt I would feel pretty frustrated because at the beginning, OKC came out very reliant on attempting the 3-pointers, but they dug themselves into a hole where at the end of the game, they had no choice but to take the 3-pointers, and they weren't hitting them, even though they did outscore and they did take the points in the paint overall, right?
Yeah.
But I saw that they were just really too reliant, and the turnovers
they have a big advantage. And this is where Dagnall's fumbled this series the most, is because they've had a big advantage in this series. And when have they actually used it a lot to dominate the Pacers? They have not. They had
Yeah, they
not been
became
able to, and maybe,
stagnant.
yeah,
When I was watching the ball movement on either side, I saw Indiana was just extremely unselfish. All
yeah,
right. But OKC was just like one pass, shoot, one
yeah,
pass, shoot. Instead of like separating and getting the ball or trying to get to the rim, trying to
yeah.
get free throws, right? That's very frustrating as a coach. I will tell you that much. I would bench my players, right? And I will ream them out in the locker room, right?
Mhm.
While I'm having a beer, I might throw it at them. Okay. I'm just saying, from what I saw, if I was on his part of the bench, I would be extremely upset. So that my overview was Rick Carlisle, as old as he is, like a dinosaur. Maybe he's going to make an appearance in Jurassic Park next month. But as old as he is, he he's teaching his team how to hustle, how to drive, how to take advantage of the threes when they can. You know, pass the ball more, play unselfish, right? And I saw that from a lot of the players. I want to get into the players right now with you, Lex, because, ladies and gentlemen, when the Raptors win, Lex has a top 5 Raptors players. When the Raptors lose, Lex has a top 3. Lex, how many players do you see that were at the top today? I'll agree with you or disagree with you, but go on.
Well, for the Pacers, I'll do a top 5. I mean, I think that first and foremost, Obi Toppin was huge in this game. He had a lot of threes. He would bring in energy and confidence.
I agree.
That in some ways he really filled that like right off the bat, and he shot really well, and he was just a presence. So Obi with the 20 points, number 1 star. McConnell obviously was just he's been sensational. Obviously, honestly, these two guys have been the unsung total carrying the Pacers in some ways with Siakam. Those three totally have been doing most of the consistency for Indiana. And McConnell's amazing. Like he's so interesting to watch, spinning around with his shots and shooting
Like the
over
Energizer
guys that
Bunny.
are way taller than him. And it's such a Rudy vibe in some ways, but it's also like I just love this shit, and it's like it's so built for Indiana, right? The guy looks like he was on the movie with Gene Hackman, bro. Like he looks like one of the guys that came in from like the Hickory High School or whatever. And like the Dennis Hopper, he's like, "Dad, go home," is what he's thinking. And it's just too much. His dad's always seen in the crowd with a beer in his hand anyway. But
Yeah, you
but
see him
TJ
take that
McConnell's
2
awesome,
sips
man.
real quick.
So much respect for TJ McConnell as far as his game and what he's doing out there on the court, man. Holy cow.
Hold on. Right after they showed that on camera where his dad took like 3 quick sips, they showed Rick
Yeah.
Carlisle take a quick sip and put it back.
Yeah. That's funny. Of course, my dude Siakam is my 3rd star, man, because like, listen, he's a presence in all kinds of ways. I love that he's getting shine for his defense in this NBA Finals.
It's about time he got some
That
recognition.
is something he's always had that. And it sucks that these guys have to leave to get the acclaim that they are deserving of, and they've been building towards, and they should have got it sooner. But man, it's so nice to finally see that recognition too. And man, Siakam had some really cool stuff. Like that dunk that he got from Haliburton was nasty. That was really nasty. And he had some big shots. There were some buzzer beaters in this game for the Pacers, which were hilarious. Siakam had one at one point, and Ben Shepherd had that one too, which was crazy, man.
And then
But I also like Nebhard. Nebhard played pretty sneaky and well tonight. He had he was a big, Nebhard in some ways is like the leader of the defense sometimes, especially since he's got to guard SGA. So he's so important for their defense, and he was playing really smart tonight.
So that's
I'm really proud of the kid from Aurora. Yeah, I'm really proud of the kid from Aurora. He is representing Canada really, really well right now. And then my last star is going to be Haliburton, because you know what? He took the pressure
and he wasn't supposed to play.
And he got out there, he played, and you know what? He, much like Toppin, had some big jump start threes that really helped the momentum for Carlisle and the Pacers.
And that no look pass. to Siakam?
Yeah, yeah, that was sweet. Yeah, he had his moments and like he looked good and healthy, which is the most important thing. Because in some ways it's like you got want to feel like your superstar guy's strength is strong right now. And so it's going to be a really interesting game on Sunday. Really interesting game.
Do you have any stars for I'm going to agree with you 100% when it came to Indiana in that
OKC.
order. But do you have any stars for OKC? Because I was looking outside and it was just dark. I didn't see nothing shining. I got none.
Well, I would say this, like, Jalen Williams has been having a fantastic finals, and he had a really good game last game. But you know what? This is the thing. Carlisle and them adjusted with him, and he did not do as well. He was trying to get good shots. And, man, he's such a tough cover, man. He's such a tough cover. I give him some respect. I mean, SGA didn't have his best game. He had like 8 turnovers, which was pretty bad. And Chet was really bad. Like his stats were really not good at all for this game.
And I was wondering, where is he? He's 7 feet tall. I can't see him.
Well, you got to remember, once again, Chet is young in some ways, so he has to experience different levels of competitive basketball and understand the levels of
he came
physicality and all that.
But at the beginning, he came out good. The beginning of the game.
But in some ways, I've always thought that Chet, in some ways, is the antithesis of playoff basketball because it's very physical.
Yeah.
And in some ways, I mean, I on my channel have been describing him as a screen door lately. So it's kind of like that. I mean, I'm just saying, if you're gonna play this way at this level, you gotta understand, like, you're gonna get thrown around like a rag doll.
Oh yeah.
And there's been a bit of that going on in this finals. He's getting manhandled by Miles and Pascal. So
no doubt.
But yeah, there's some chippiness too in the game, a little bit there with Tony Bradley and Isaiah and different stuff going on. And of course, James Johnson, former Raptor, comes in and gets I was hoping he'd get in, and then boom, he gets tossed. Within like a minute and a half of being in the game, which is fantastic. I love that. That's just
I love that. I love the scrappiness. I love it.
Yeah. James Johnson, that's legendary, man. He cocked that joint back and he banged on getting out of the game like that.
We're gonna go back. Raptors fans, do you guys remember that? Yeah.
Of course they do. They do. Real ones remember. That's right.
But Lex, see, you just said something there. I agree with you 100% on your top 5. With Indiana, one major thing was I'm just going to touch on this really quick. I don't know what your thoughts are on it, but with watching the game and listening to the American broadcasters, right, talk about how great Pascal is and how good Pascal is, and he never got that recognition during 2019 when the Raps took it over, right? But now to hear it, it's very satisfying. My one disappointment is with the way the games are right now for the finals. They're all 8:30 at night Eastern, right? Which is pretty late. People got jobs the next day. They got work to do, right? But the viewership has also gone down. I guess you can attribute it to that and attribute it to some new faces. But I'm telling people out there right now, this is one of the best NBA finals I've seen in years, and I'm on my 5th decade of watching this. This is amazing. I'm loving every single minute of it. Okay, I think it's great, and I think it's extremely enjoyable, and people should turn back and get away from that this superstar, that superstar, this superstar, that superstar. No, let's just watch real basketball and real players playing. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that, Lex?
Basketball is a team sport. There's 5 people on a team. The best type of basketball and the most successful basketball in the world is international basketball, FIBA, that is played team-oriented, where people pass and they move and off of each other. And, the thing is, the NBA got really lazy for about a decade. Superstar ball, which heavily isolated one very, very supreme talented person, and it was boring. And in some ways, that person was very good, and they could score, and they could do all that and that. but in some ways it killed the game and the real essence and the spirit of what actually basketball is. And the funny thing is, not everybody can be that supreme scorer who can just take over the game and isolate and over and over again. Some guys can do it for a majority of the time and do this and this, but it's not winning basketball. And winning basketball is getting that depth, like the Indiana Pacers. It's that using each other on defense and offense and different ways, just like the Thunder do too. And the parity of the league and the way that team basketball is going to be more a winning way in the NBA was going to, it's going to change the superstar system in the league, whether people like it or not. You can market people, like put big names on the commercials and stuff like that. But as evidence as this year, the teams that are going to win the Larry O'Brien and the NBA championship will be teams.
Exactly. It's not one player. All right. It's not one. And I think with the changing of the regime that is going to happen within the next year or two, we will see these younger players, some names most people won't even know, right? But you're going to see them win championships. You're going to see them give a ring, right? You're going to see all of that, right? And I think that's a great part of the growth for the game. And since we are Raptors-centric, ladies and gentlemen, that's what the Raptors are building towards, unless they make a deep dive and get a big fish this offseason, right? But that's what they're building towards, the same blueprint as Oklahoma, as Indiana, as Orlando, as Atlanta, right? As these teams, as New York, as these teams that were shitted on a couple of years ago, but they built themselves. Even Minnesota, all these teams that have showed up. I think it's great for the game overall. Lex, my man, before we get out of here,
yeah, man,
floor is yours. Whatever you want to say.
Well, I think we got to think about Game 7, which is on Sunday. And, are we
going to make predictions?
Well, I'm going to stick with what I've been predicting for the last week or so. I thought that they would both hold court in these last two games, and we get to Game 7 in Oklahoma City. And, well, Game 7s are a funny thing. Anything can go any way, which way. It's one game for everything, as SGA was heard, for all the marbles.
One game wins it all.
And this is the thing. The Pacers have won on their court in this series already. So they've proven that they can beat Oklahoma City in Oklahoma City. And so I'm going to pick them just because of the experience of Carlisle. In some ways, there's a real spirit, kind of like where Haliburton came back and he played and he did add things to it. And there's a confidence and there's an energy in the Pacers players that has been building this whole entire season. And in some ways, they understand the assignment, that they have one more to do. And, I wouldn't be shocked if they actually win the championship on Sunday in Oklahoma City against the Thunder. And Pascal Siakam's the MVP. I wouldn't be shocked if this happens.
If Indiana wins, definitely he's the MVP. No question.
Yeah.
No question.
I'll pick that. If you think that OKC will win at home, because a lot of people will think that. And that's a fair pick. But I just feel like there's something weird about the Pacers being a team of destiny. Also, kind of like, there is an experience factor that favors the Pacers with Rick Carlisle and Pascal Siakam.
Yep.
And that kind of stuff in this situation is so, it's going to be a tough environment. Well, and they're going to have to really, really try and play their type of offense off of each other, because that's where they do the best. When they play off of each other, they do their best.
May I make a prediction here?
Yes.
My brain is telling me OKC by 3 points.
Okay.
It's going to come down to the wire.
Yeah. I can see
my heart is telling me Indiana by 5.
Wow. Okay, so you just hedged your bets.
Yeah. It's like in the episode of Seinfeld where his brain are playing the chess game.
Yeah. I get
this part. This part's telling me OKC by 3. It's going to come down to the wire. My heart is telling me, maybe because I want to see Pascal get another chance and win the MVP.
You know what? I totally relate to what you're saying. The sensible thing for me would be to predict that the Thunder will win the championship on Sunday.
Yeah.
But for some weird reason, I feel like I want to pick the Pacers because I don't know why. I'm crazy. I may be crazy for saying that, but like, we'll see. We'll see.
Well, at the beginning of the series, I said it's gonna go 1-1 in OKC, 1-1 in Indiana. I got those backwards, but I said OKC game 5, Indiana game 6 guaranteed, OKC in game 7.
Yeah.
I said that at the beginning. I made one of my friends like $2,000 off of it.
Yeah, you were saying that in the other show.
Yeah.
But yeah, listen, this is the thing. I would say that this is more even in this game 7, partially because this was a rout tonight.
Yes. And it's exciting.
And there's a little bit of that. But SGA is the kind of guy that he's gonna be like, he's got to get eye of the tiger. In some ways, this will be really exciting because it really will be like Haliburton has the opportunity to be huge. Siakam, hopefully he can have a huge game and be the MVP. But SGA is going to be thinking all about that at the same time. So this is an epic battle. And honestly, if I was the NBA, either way, you're going to have a great stories told. Because if the Pacers win, this is really kind of a crazy, like old school, like basketball underdog story.
A lot of New York Knicks fans are going to be mad. Sorry.
Oh man, the Pacers have some haters for sure. I'm not one of them. I'm really happy for them, and I'll be proud if they win it on Sunday. I'll be very proud for the Thunder too, because I have no serious malice towards them either.
Well, Lex, is that all you got to say, man? Because we got to get out.
Yeah, I just man, let's get out of here. I just say this has been a very entertaining, fun finals. And I hope that, like you said, as the young generation takes over more and more in the NBA, and the changes in the NBA structure with Adam Silver's leadership, that we'll have this kind of entertaining basketball continuing, because this is the real deal, compete kind of real stuff, and this is what basketball fans wanted for a while, for a couple years now, and we finally got it back, and that's why it feels so good to see it again. So,
well, Lex, it's been more entertaining than the finals? Staying up at night and filming this with you, my man.
Hey, I appreciated that, Brian. I want to say a big shout out to the producer, Arturas, holding it down for us over in Lithuania. That's right, man.
All right. So, Lex, I'm going to sign us out. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of myself, the king from To The Point, okay, and my man, the lyrical Leviathan, the Raptors freak. Find him, like I said. You better not miss out. 9:30 a.m. Central every fucking morning. Okay? And like he just said, the greatest producer of all time, my man Arturas. If you are out there supporting Lex, Raptors freak, Freak Nation, you guys are supporting us, I consider you To The Point family. So on behalf of everybody, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good night, and